LGBTQ plus Democratic Caucus meets as record number of LGBTQ plus candidates are running in the midterms. With the overturning of Roe v. Wade and the declaration by the Justice Clarence Thomas that LGBTQ plus rights are next, many members of the community have decided to join the fight from within the system. The number of LGBTQ plus individuals running in the midterm elections is up 16% from the 2020 election cycle, increasing the representation of that already record year for candidates. Here in Florida, the LGBTQ plus Democratic Caucus is kicking off their summer conference this weekend. They are reaching out to the community here in Fort Lauderdale, where it's going to be held with the Without You, We Lose campaign. And we'll be highlighting the community in a special Drag Brunch the Vote event to get the queer community excited to register and vote. You should join Hosts Kitty Meow, Faye What? And a Queer News Tonight anchor here. I'm not sure
this dude right here.
Fun and important Drag Brunch starring Misty Eyez, Sunserve's Director of Trans and Women's Services, Velvet LeNore, Miss Florida at Large 2022, Erika Norell, Shasta McNastie, Lady Marisa, and many more. Misty Eyez will also do a special world premiere adult drag queen story time called Dear Governor DeSantis. Can't wait for that. Make sure to go to lgbtqdems.com to get tickets and join us at the brunch. And most importantly, join us in voting. This midterm election is more important than ever in protecting our rights. What do y'all think? Growth of 16% of LGBTQ candidates.
So I was going to ask, I mean, have they heard us screaming that we need more LGBTQ plus representation and more people have gone out and decided to run for office? Orlando, I'm asking you, like, is 16% a lot from 2020? Does that mean that 4 more people signed on? I'm being honest.
I think it's important to think of it sort of from the general population as well, right? In most communities, we're 10 to 15% of the population. So that should be reflected in the legislature as well. I think it's really important to say that the midterm election is August 23rd. That's a month away. And early voting starts on August 8th and goes until the 20th. So I want to just put those out there so that you can start to mark your calendars and make sure that we do go out there and vote. Our community traditionally has not voted well in midterm elections, and this year are very, very critical. We get excited about presidential elections. Right. We get excited about the big boom, right? And in the meantime, sort of these undercurrents of what happens in small municipal races, in House and Senate races at the state level, we miss out on them. And we really get to hear them.
But it seems to me, in terms of what you've just said, historically, that means that in this midterm of the mid-year between these presidential elections, if we lose the House and we lose the Senate, everything that the president is going to be trying to do is blocked. And it dramatically affects LGBT. So it's counterintuitive. We don't show up in the midterms, but we are going to significantly lose out because we don't show up.
Right. And, you know, oftentimes when I hear people criticize a president like Obama or like Biden, and they say, oh, they're doing nothing, what they're not realizing is that sometimes when they don't have the legislature, the House or the Senate, they're not able to accomplish anything. So it's not really the person at the top of the ticket, it's the people that are helping move legislation.
It's also, I feel like so often we forget just how important voting at the local level is. That is, I mean, the people who are able to provide us with protections, especially when the state and the national government are doing everything they can to either remove or prohibit our you know, your school board, your local legislatures. These are the people who offer protections at the local level is where so much of this gets started.
Go ahead.
I appreciate that Julio brought that up because people overlook the school board elections, for example, and what's happening right now in school boards is that has been the central focus of anti-LGBT people for the last 2 or 3 years. The other is the judiciary, right? So how many times do people go and they vote and they know absolutely nothing about the candidates that are there? As my shameless plug, you can always go to the SAVE website, save.lgbt. We have a list of endorsements. We tell people who has been vetted and who we have picked out to be the best people for our community.
Well, and that's a great point that Orlando said. Something that I did the last time this came around. I went to the Save website and I just printed out a cheat sheet and I took it with me because I didn't know
Right.
who was there for us and who wasn't. Honestly,
Right. And that's why organizations like SAVE, and one of the many reasons that they exist is that they're providing us this service that we're so grateful for. That is, we can't do the research for all of these, so we rely on those that we trust. So thank you for the great work you're doing.
No, absolutely. All this week there are interviews still happening. So
Yeah, we want to provide a few slides of additional information that might be important to you. One of the slides that we're showing you is about the record number of 47 LGBTQ plus congressional candidates. It's of course up 16%. But interesting, of the 47, 46 are Democrats. There is one Republican LGBT candidate. It's a lesbian, of course.
why you look at me like that?
I look at you, to my left and right.
I don't know her.
I don't know her.
Also interesting in that slide, if we can look at it one more time, I think Orlando brings out something that's very interesting about this number. We're up 16%, but that's still only a reflection of 2.1% of the Congress. So we way underperform in terms of the number of candidates. Another interesting fact on this number is, of these 47, 41% of them identify as a person of color. Dramatic,
Wow, that's
dramatic
huge.
number.
What?
It is a dramatic
That
number.
is huge representation.
In Republican counterparts, it's not even a fraction
I'm sure.
that
it's a sea
identifies.
of whiteness. Yeah.
Second thing that we want to show you, as I just said, only 2.1% overall. We have 9 congressional seats currently in the Congress, and only 2.1% of them are a reflection of LGBT. I guess I'm following the slide, but I'm not sure if we showed that. And of all 47 of these candidates, 4 states have more than half of these candidates, just 4 states. And of course, where would they be? You guessed it, Florida, California, Texas, and New York. Half of all the LGBT candidates in America are just in these 4 states.
Wow. So that's
I want to see one more thing that I think is important, right? So from the Roe decision, what we took away is that things are going to be pushed to be decisions that are going to be made at the state level, right? So we need to really focus on those state level positions, which is where a lot of the LGBT candidates are running, and we need to pay attention to state races more and more, because if Roe's get pushed there, same-sex marriage is going to get pushed there, contraception, all of these landmark decisions will be reversed, just like we saw with Roe.
Yeah. I'm curious, Orlando, we want to put up a slide about what's happening in Florida. Here are congressional candidates that are running for Congress in Florida. Robert Milwee, well, I'm not familiar with yet. However, if you remember, he was in the Stonewall Pride
yes, he was.
parade,
He was.
had presence. And I believe it's Rebecca Jones is running against the Matt Gaetz seat, running against him. Do you know, in terms of, our friend in North Carolina that was so crazy is out? Is there any chance that Matt Gaetz could be out, or do you think that seat is just completely safe for him?
Yeah, I think he's pretty safe, unfortunately, right? He lives in a place that really supports his point of view. And that's why when we think about, again, the state races, right, I always want to highlight that Broward County is one of the most pro-LGBT, very democratic counties, right? When the numbers in Broward, if we were to get a strong voter turnout in Broward, we could actually control the outcome of state races, especially ones that are statewide races. And so that's how powerful Broward is. But Broward, while it has the registered voters, is not coming out to vote, right? And we need that to be ramped up a whole lot. Over the weekend, we did some canvassing. We did a lot of talking to voters. And unfortunately, I left the day pissed off and scared, because we saw a lot of apathetic people in Broward saying, oh, whatever, like they were just kind of really passive. It's very different in my experience when we've gone to canvass in other parts of the state. So Broward needs to wake up.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why the event that we're having this weekend is so important. Now, like people, just like Orlando said, most of our community doesn't come out unless it's a presidential vote. Like, these midterms are so important. We need for you to come out and vote.
We showed a picture there of Stephen Gaskell, who is the president of the Florida LGBTQ plus Democratic Caucus. Everyone, candidate-wise, in Florida, kind of a who's who, is here in Fort Lauderdale this weekend. But interesting too, or one final note about what is going on. Interesting in terms of Orlando's observation about Broward County. Presidential candidate, Governor DeSantis, smells blood in the water because this weekend, the entire Republican force is coming into Broward County. They're at Seminole Hard Rock this weekend. Everybody in the Republican infrastructure
Really?
machine is at
At
Seminole
the same
Hard
time
Rock
as the caucus is going to be here.
at the exact same time that the
Democratic,
Democratic Caucus is going on. And the reason that they're coming to the Seminole Hard Rock is because they are targeting Broward County and Dade County, but especially Broward County, to peel off a significant percentage of Democratic voters for the Republicans, because they think the exact same thing that we think in LGBT. LGBT could be the margin of victory against Marco Rubio or Governor DeSantis in those two races for the Val Demings and presumably Charlie Crist or the Agriculture Commission, whoever the ultimate
races.
candidate of that race is. They think the exact same thing in reverse, that they can peel off enough of Broward County to just absolutely deliver a knockout punch in Florida. The question is, what is LGBT Broward County and South Florida and Florida? What is the LGBTQ community? And you give an ominous warning, because the ominous warning is I walk away in a little disgust and disappointment in terms of the apathy. If that conclusion is true, we are going to lose Florida. There's no other conclusion.
Yep.
And DeSantis is at Seminole Hard Rock to be either the death nail or the loss, one way or the other.
While we'll have Misty Eyez reading Dear DeSantis.
Dear Governor DeSantis.
All right.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.